Tobey Maguire showed up to the late-night set like any other celebrity, calm, collected, and camera-ready. But the moment he sat across from Stephen Colbert, things started to feel off. The vibe was weird, almost like there was a silent argument playing. Out beneath the surface, the usual friendly banter seemed just a little too sharp. The compliments came laced with passive digs, and both of them were clearly trying to control the energy of the room. It wasn't long before the audience started picking up on the tension and shifting uncomfortably in their seats, wondering what exactly was going down. Colbert asked a question about Spider-Man, but not just any question. He brought up the infamous dancing scene from Spider-Man 3. And while the crowd chuckled, Tobey just stared back with a tight smile. He leaned into the mic and said, "You know, people still talk about that like it's the worst thing ever. But I had fun doing it. It wasn't meant to be Oscar material." Colbert responded with a grin. Maybe not Oscar material, but definitely meme material. That was the first clear jab. And Tobey blinked slowly before giving a little nod. Like, okay, game on. Instead of letting it go, Tobey fired back, saying, "At least people still remember it," which is more than I can say for some of your earlier bits. That line got a few oohs from the crowd, and Colbert laughed, but it was stiff force, like he wasn't expecting Tobey to clap back. He adjusted his glasses and changed the topic. But the damage was done. Both men were locked in this strange late-night passive-aggressive tennis match, and neither wanted to back down. The interview started to feel like a showdown. They moved on to Tobey's recent projects, but every question felt like it had a little twist, a little dig hidden in the delivery. Colbert asked if Tobey missed being relevant in the superhero world. Now that Tom Holland was the face of Spider-Man, Tobey smiled again, but there was a flicker in his eyes. He said, "Being first means something, and besides, not every hero needs a multiverse to stay iconic." Colbert raised his brows and replied, "Some heroes just need better scripts." The crowd laughed again, but now the laughter was nervous, unsure who to root for. Things really spiraled when Colbert brought up the poker drama. The rumors that Tobey had been blacklisted from some underground games for being too competitive or too intense. Tobey leaned forward and said, "You're really going to go there on national TV?" And Colbert smiled, that smirky late-night host smile, and said, "Just doing my job, man." Tobey said, "Well, if your job is starting drama, maybe you should try reality TV instead." And that landed hard. The audience went dead quiet for the first time all night. Colbert tried to pivot. He asked about Tobey's kids or his directing ambitions, but Tobey was clearly over it. He gave short answers, looking off stage like he was done with the whole thing. Colbert cracked another joke, trying to salvage the mood. Something about Tobey needing a nap, but Tobey didn't even smile. He just stared at him and said, "You know, sometimes people forget that actors are people too. Maybe it's easier to make jokes than have real conversations. But that's your whole thing, right?" And that was it. The tension was now undeniable. At this point, producers were scrambling behind the scenes, trying to figure out whether to cut to commercial or let it play out. Colbert gave one last try, saying, "Hey man, it's all in good fun." But Tobey leaned back, crossed his arms, and said, "Funny for who? Because I'm not laughing anymore." And the audience was shifting again, whispering, phones in hand, some already tweeting. The clip was going to be viral before the segment even ended, and both men knew it. You could feel it in the air that something unscripted had just happened, without saying another word. Tobey stood up mid-segment, the cameras still rolling, and said, "Maybe this isn't the place for me anymore." He gave the crowd a little nod and started walking. Off stage, Colbert looked stunned, frozen for a second, then tried to make a joke about spider sense tingling, but it fell flat. No one laughed. Tobey disappeared behind the curtain, and Colbert was left staring at the camera. The silence between them had said more than any punchline could ever land. Backstage sources said Tobey was furious. Not shouting, just cold, distant muttering, something about how late-night shows had turned into clickbait machines, and he wasn't here for that. He left without doing the post-show photos or meet and greets, just straight to the car, and gone. Colbert, meanwhile, had to finish the rest of the episode, trying to act like everything was fine. But the audience could tell the energy had shifted, and Twitter was already on fire with clips, analysis, and memes flooding every feed by. The next morning, the clip had millions of views. Articles popped up with headlines like "Tobey Maguire, Meltdown on Colbert, and Tobey walks off live TV. But fans were split. Some said Colbert was out of line. Others said Tobey overreacted. But no one could deny it was the most authentic, raw, late-night moment in years. Not a stunt. Not a setup. Just two guys clashing on camera and leaving everyone speechless. Sometimes the mask slips, and when it does, people watch because it reminds them that even stars bleed real.